I had a photo shoot early that morning, so I got up really early so I can go out and water my plants. And it was a nice, breezy, cool morning, which is kind of unique for end of August. And I looked to my right on the other side of the patio screen, and I see the most beautiful little calico colored fluffy rabbit. The bunny was just sitting there looking at me over the kick plate, and I could see it on the other side of the screen. So I remembered that I had hay. I had Timothy hay. So I came inside, grabbed some, and I went out, and the bunny had kind of moved a little bit, but it was still in front of the patio. And I offered it, and the bunny actually came over and took some out of my hand, and I realized it was somewhat friendly, but it's definitely cautious of me. I was like, okay, so I'm going to put some hay in the cage and then see if I can kind of scooch the bunny over to the cage, and I'll shut the door. Offered it food again, and it came over and started eating, and I realized I could pet it. So then I just picked it up and I scruffed it like I would scruff a kitten. But I guess it worked because it was kicking me like crazy, but even though it wasn't scratching me, it just felt like somebody was attacking me with Q-tips. And it was making little guinea pig sounds going And so I was like, well, I cannot let go. I know it's scared, but I have to get in this cage. And I put new, fresh, bottled spring water with a little bit of ice, and I gave it to the bunny. So I had shelter, and it was safe on our lanai from predators, and it had water and food. Oh, and I put a fan on it so it wouldn't get hot. And I went on a walkabout, started knocking on all the neighbors' doors. So I walked all the way down to the end of the block and around the corner, and anybody who was standing outside, I asked them about it, and nothing. And I feel like I was getting too far away, like there's no way the bunny could have jumped this far. I reported it to the online that same day, to the online lost and found pets pages, which has like tens of thousands of members. So it's like the place people know to go when they have a pet missing. It was just kind of crickets for a long time. I thought the bunny was really healthy, but when I really started petting it, like a few days into it, I could tell its hips were like kind of skinny in the back. I could really feel its like individual hip bones that probably hadn't eaten very much. So it was eating a lot of hay like they're supposed to. It's supposed to be like 80% of their diet. And I offered it all kinds of vegetables that I Googled and said was okay to give them, cucumbers and all kinds of like dark green lettuces and romaine lettuce and broccoli, and it just wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. I bought some pet treats, some bunny treats at the pet supermarket, the one that they suggested, and the bunny loved these treats. But they had seeds in them, and I read they're not supposed to give them seeds, but then at the store they said they love these treats, so I would give them like one, and it was like crack, because Bunny loved it. But it still only ate hay, and it would take these little seed treats. It was like flaxseed or something, it wasn't anything bad. I just kept reading more and more every night, and I'm slowly learning how to handle a bunny, because I thought you could pick them up. Apparently you can't, because I definitely got growled at, and I didn't know bunnies growled, but this bunny definitely growled at me every time I tried to pick him up. So I was like, okay. I thought it just hated me, and then when I was reading, I found out, okay, it's pretty common thing that bunnies don't really like to be picked up, especially if they don't know you. And but it makes sense because they're a prey animal, and the way they get attacked is like if a hawk came, it's gonna pick it up, and its feet, as soon as its feet are off the ground, it feels like it's going to die. So once I learned that, I realized, okay, well, I just need to learn how to handle the bunny and how to get it where I need to go without picking it up and stuff. So then I just started using a towel, and I would just sort of herd it back to the other side of because I was letting it run around on the lanai, and I was having the best time ever. And I think that's where I started to learn to trust me more, is when I had some free time and free space. And then I would just sort of herd it back to the cage, and then I would give it a treat so it didn't feel like it was being punished. I would say about day 6 or so, I tried the lettuce again, and it like jerked it out of my hand and it scarfed down and a whole piece of romaine right in front of me. I'm like, whoa, you do like this now? Because I read you are supposed to give them like 10% of their diet should be like leafy greens and an occasional fruit here and there, nothing much, like little slices, especially for small bunnies, and this one's pretty small. It is a dwarf breed, although I think it's probably a mixed breed. So I would give it like one baby carrot and I just cut it up in different pieces so it felt like a lot of treats. And then it just started eating leafy greens for us. And I just definitely felt it relaxing more and more every day. And it got easier. Even started putting itself back in the cage at the end of playtime. And about like 45 minutes to 1 hour is the cutoff time. So I like to let them out like 8 in the morning and then like 7 at night when it's cooler out and it's daylight. And Buddy loves to run and play, and he does something called binky, which is jump up and kick his feet out, which is so cute. And just loves looking outside in the garden and watching the birds fly and the lizards crawl all over the cage. I had a bunch of plants, including a bunch of aster flowers that were in little 4-inch pots, and I kept having to pick them up because it definitely was just bouncing all over them and chomping them off, because I think it's a younger bunny and it likes to try new things. So even if it's not something it wants to eat, it's going to try it by chomping it. And I learned that from our outside, the wild cottontail bunny. It would do that in my garden too. It would just chomp things but not really eat them. And so I learned pretty quick I got to pick the flowers up. And it was jumping in my pots that had wild clover growing in them, and I had the clover growing for my wild bunny, which disappeared. And then so I was like, oh well, that's perfect, because I know that's like something good for bunnies, for them to eat clover. And so I would just kind of chew on them here and there. And then I let it jump to my big miracle fruit plant, which is kind of like a small shrub in a large pot. And it loved it. It was so happy sitting in there in the pot, and it would dig and dig and dig, and it was really making a mess. And I was like, okay, maybe this is not a good idea. I shouldn't be teaching you to do that. And so after that, I learned I could just put a towel in there. And so now I just put a towel in the plant. It still jumps up there, but it doesn't dig at all. It just sits there and chills. And now it's gotten to a point where it doesn't chomp on any of my plants. It just sort of sniffs them and runs through them, but doesn't bother them anymore. So they are supposed to eat hay. It's supposed to be their main thing. It's Timothy hay is for adults or baby rabbits. And then there's alfalfa hay, which I had because we had the outside bunny since it was a little bitty baby. It showed up on like Easter weekend. So that's why I had alfalfa hay. But apparently alfalfa hay has too much something in it. Something that's not as good for adult big rabbits. Hay is supposed to be 80% of their diet, and then it's supposed to be like 10% of like greens and an occasional vegetable or whatever, like a carrot or a little apple, and then the rest can be treats, which are like a lot of the treats are like hay based anyway. Like they'll put some apple in with hay. It's basically all the same stuff, just in different shapes to kind of give them variety. The hay is in there all day long, and I just top it off in the morning at night. I let it out in the morning and I clean its cage while it's out, because I cannot clean the cage while it's in there. It will absolutely jump past me. It's a little naughty thing. Oh, that's one thing I learned was I would just sort of block it in with my hands or whatever. He would just take my hand and just a little, like a little play bite, like nothing hard at all, but like just letting you know, you put your hand in my mouth, this could happen. So I learned pretty quick that I can't block with my hands because they get those little warning nipples. And I was like, oh, you little toot. But it could have really bitten me, but he didn't bite me. So I was like, it was really smart, of him to train me to not use my hands. And now I'm scared to use my hands and it just jumps right past me. So now I have to use like a towel or something if I have it sitting there, if I need to like clean up something really fast. And they're not that messy. I put the litter box in there, and now I use paper litter, which is safer for them, and it's really good at pooping and peeing in the litter box. So there's really not much cleanup I even have to do, and the poop doesn't stink, which is really great. Just their pee smells. I use paper litter. I've read some people use feline pine and other pines like we have, but I've read other people say it's toxic, so I don't want to mess with it. I don't know. Seems like it would be an issue. So it's better to just go with the paper, I would think, for now anyway. And then I just get one after he comes out and runs around for like 45 minutes to an hour. And when he's done, he'll just lay down. And sometimes he'll go back in the cage and start hopping around like, hello, it's food time. So then I like, okay, I'll go ahead, make sure that it's all cleaned up. And I always change the water every morning, even though he's never finished it. But he does drink out of the bowls. I have 2 bowls just in case one gets knocked over. After he goes back in, I give him his salad, which is either romaine or a bunch of spring greens and maybe a little couple of baby carrot slices. And there's these banana chips, which is just dehydrated bananas that he freaks out over. So I give him half of one of those chips when he goes back in, because it says you can give him 2 a day. So I just give him half each time. So he has about 1 a day since he's getting carrots and apples. But he definitely seems happy, and every time he comes out, it's like he's more and more calm, less kind of like nervous about me, and now he's like coming up to me, and he comes up to you and just kind of like sniffs us and sits for a second and gets petted, and then goes back to running around and exploring. And I could definitely see like a more personality coming out and less timidness, you know. Oh, and I tried the parsley and I tried dill, and at first wanted nothing to do with them, and then that one day I ate the salad. The next time I offered parsley, it just like jerked it out of my hand and ate the whole thing. It just disappeared. It's like a shredder, like a real life shredder. You just put it in and it disappears. But I have seen a lot of videos about how people use their poop and their pee and use them in their garden, and it really makes their plants grow. So that's like an exciting thing to think about. And that's the story how I got the bunny.